Regular communication is like the regular season. You win, you lose. A crisis is like a playoff. You can win or lose. If you manage the crisis well, you can win the season even if you began with a crisis. But if you lose, you go out. So a crisis is a place that can change your destiny.
Every leader will face a crisis. The question isn't if it will happen. The question is whether they'll be prepared when it does. Itay Ben Horin is the CEO of Ben Horin Alexandrovitz, one of Israel's leading strategic communications consultancies, and the author of Crisis Management, a book that explores how leaders, companies, and public figures navigate their most defining moments. In this conversation, we talk about crisis management, leadership under pressure, media strategy, AI's impact on communications, and why the moments that threaten your reputation can also define your legacy.
Level up your business. Get my free insights every week at stevepreda.com/newsletter. Good day, Steve Preda here with the Management Blueprint podcast. And my guest today is Itay Ben Horin, the CEO of Ben Horin Alexandrovitz, a leading strategic media consultancy in Israel, and also the author of Crisis Management, which just came out in the US. Itay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's exciting to talk to you. I mean, you're in Israel, you're growing your business there, and I look forward to your differentiated perspective on things on this show. But before we launch in, my favorite question: what is your personal why, and how are you manifesting it in Ben Horin and Alexandrovitz?
Okay, so our vision in the company is to fulfill through the media. We're trying to empower people and organization to go with the target and to fulfill them and empowering the people and the organization. And we're doing it through the media, through communication, through social networks. This is our professionality, is the communication, strategic consulting and public relations and spokesmanship. My specialty is crisis management, but our company is doing all kinds of media consulting. And our why is to help people to fulfill their dreams. And our way to help them is through the media, but there are other targets.
Yeah, that is interesting. So how does media help people fulfill their dreams?
When a person or organization is talking to one person, two person in a store, in any aspects of communication, it has limited power. But when he's talking through the media, to thousands or millions of people through television or radio or podcast or whatever, way that in our modern life, he has the way to affect more people. So the media helps him in the good way. Also in, crisis management, when there is something wrong that is happening and you use the media to go from the bad issue to a better place. When I talk to people, I'm telling them through the Bible, people had communication. Written communication. And it's the same stories, love, hate, power, politics, everything is the same. The only thing that's a change is the technology of how to talk to the people. Once it was people shouting from a rooftop or other, natural things. And today they can talk from their house to millions of people.
Yeah, and then social media is a big amplifier of messaging and it's changing politics as well. So it's for sure. Now, you're running a big communication firm, strategic communication firm, but you wrote this book about crisis management. So what's the difference in communication when there is a crisis compared to when business as usual and you just want to get your message out?
I'm a basketball fan, and today is like the playoff of the NBA. So
Yeah,
I'm saying, yeah, the Spurs won, and it's very interesting to see the 7th game. But so what I'm saying is that regular communication is like the regular season. You win, you lose. It's not so important. It's important, but it's not so important. A crisis is like a playoff. You can win or lose. If you manage the crisis well, you can be a winner. You can win the season even if you began with a crisis. But if you lose, you go out. So a crisis is a place that can change your destiny to good or to bad in the way that you manage it. And I think this is the difference between the crisis management area or moments to the regular communication. It's like, as I said, it's like a regular season, a very long one.
Yeah, I love that analogy. So it's the yin and yang, right? It's the crisis and the opportunity. And how do you turn the crisis into an opportunity? There is this saying that never
Yeah.
is a good crisis, right? Something like that.
Yes, I'm not advising my people to go into a crisis. It's not my advice. But if you have a crisis, and also in the book, the crisis management book, I'm writing about a lot of case studies, good and bad crisis management. That in some ways, the way that a person like Bill Clinton or Barack Obama, how did they manage their crisis, make them the winners because they manage it well. And other companies that I'm writing about, McDonald's and Starbucks, and also crisis management in Israel. And if you do bad, if you manage bad your crisis, so you can go out from your place, from your business. I'm not
Yeah.
advising you to go to a crisis, but when I'm coming to a room when there is a crisis, and I'm doing that a lot, this is my day job, to go to a person, to a CEO, a manager that has a crisis. And I'm telling them in that moment, please look from another dimension about this moment, because this is the moments that will define your leadership. And if we will do well and we will try to do our best, you will be written in history as the managers and done this and that and that. And it's hard to see it in that moment. But after that, they come to me and tell me, I remember what you told me in those moments.
Yeah, that's when character really shows up, right? In the moments of crisis, it's when everything gets amplified.
Yes.
So this podcast is a great transition to my next question, because this podcast is called Management Blueprint. We are talking about frameworks here all the time. So give me a good crisis management framework, 3 to 5 elements to it. I'm sure that you have these in your book, that someone who is in a crisis, what do they have to think about? And what are the steps they need to take? Do you have a framework like that?
Yeah, so the book is like 20 episodes, that 16 of them are crisis management from around the world and Israel, there's some that I manage. And there are also 4 episodes that are about this framework and to have like a written book, how to manage a crisis. So the first thing that I will tell you, that the best way to manage a crisis is to be prepared for a crisis. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's really important. Every minute that you prepare, I call it a golden minute. Every minute that you prepare for a crisis will count as 10 minutes in the crisis when it began. Because if you're prepared, if you have who is talking, who is your team, what are the messages, who is your crisis management advisor, who is your lawyer, who is your accountant, who will be in the room as a manager, it's very, very important. So this is the preparation. And even if you don't prepare, the first moment is to have your team together. I don't believe that crisis management can be managed from far away. You must be in the same room with all the people and to talk together with all your team. The second is, I'm talking in a crisis, you need to work very fast and very slow. Very fast is because you need to think fast and you need to react fast, because, it's a crisis. You have a lot of phone calls and a lot of WhatsApp and a lot of, in the social networks, a lot of people are talking to you. But also, you need to be very, very sharp. And you have the time to think. The most important thing that you need to think is, what is your entry point for the win? Who is your target audience? Is your target audience all the public? Is the business ecosystem? Is a regulator? Is a minister? The most important thing in a crisis, in most of crises, you have a few target audience, but you must understand who is the target audience that can take you to a win. If you're a political leader, so it's the public. If you're a business, it can be the market, the stock exchange. If you are a producer, a manufacturer, and you have a crisis, it can be the regulator of the area. So you might think, who is your target audience? And then to decide what is the strategy in the situation. Because there are crises that you cannot win. If you will go back to the basketball, you cannot win, but you can lose, in the series 4-2. It's better to lose 4-2 than 4-0. And it's also okay because you build for the next area. So you have the team, you have the target audience, you have the strategy. You need to decide who is talking to the public and what is the way that he's talking. Through Facebook or social networks? Are you talking to the press? Are you have one-on-one meetings? when you are going to talk, where you are going to talk, or and who is going to talk.
Mhm.
The manager, the professional manager, your legal staff, your communication staff. So this is all the things that you need to do when the crisis begin. And from that, every crisis is different, but from there you go ahead.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So basically, get your team together. That's step one. Obviously, you have to be prepared so that you have a team. You have
Yes.
to react fast, but also make room for deep thought. And who's your target audience? How do you enter this crisis? Where do you need to show up? Decide the strategy, and then who's going to speak where and when. So that's fascinating.
When and where? What is the technology? Or are you doing a press conference? Are you doing a press release? Do you go to your LinkedIn page or your Facebook page or Instagram page? Every crisis has its own recipe. I'm saying
Yes.
that there are people in my profession that all the time they are doing the same strategy to talk or not to talk, to be aggressive or to be not aggressive. I think
Mhm.
that every crisis has its own recipe. There are
Mhm.
times that you need to talk. There are times that you need to be in silence. There are times that you need to attack your rivals or your opponents. And there are times that you need to apologize for things that you have done. So every crisis has its own recipe.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love it. So I'd like to switch gears here a little bit and learn more about your business. So what drives growth in your business, in your strategic communication consulting business?
So I think that there are like two main engines. The first engine is more clients. We have clients in all aspects of life. We have Samsung and Qualcomm from technology. We have a big bank, big investment house. We have cities, municipalities. We have academy. So this is like one engine. And the second engine is the engine of more professions. There is like, we began just communication. Then we got also social networks managing. Then we got a video. And now we have influencers and creators that we are working with them. So there is one way, more clients. The second way is to have more aspects of our profession. It's all
Mhm.
around communication, but the communication is evolving.
Yeah. So when more aspects, meaning more channels,
Yes, more channels, more professions.
how do you see these channels are evolving? What's the big trend? So in the past, it used to be, you said that people were shouting from the rooftops, and then there were, I don't know, town hall meetings, and then were newspapers, and then you had
Yes.
the internet, social media, and now we have people are tweeting. So how is this about? What's the big picture that communication is
So
evolving towards?
So it's a good question. I think that the first main understanding is that it's all together. It's a synchronizing. You talk in the television, in the paper, in radio, nothing is diminished. Everything is together.
Mhm.
But you have more channels, as you said. The most evolving channels is through influencer and creators.
Mhm.
Now, a lot of my clients are not talking to journalists, they are talking to creators or to social networks, influencers, and they are the most important when you have like a B2C, talking to the
Mhm.
customer and to the consumer. Other business that are more B2B, I think economic press and the television is still very, very important. So it depends on the client side, the organization, who is the organization, to what is the best channel to talk to.
Yeah, that's interesting. What is something that you're actively trying to figure out in your business right now?
I think like everyone, we're thinking now how the AI will affect our job, our profession. The first steps of AI, everybody's using through ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude, just to every program that we have, we got it also to the ChatGPT or to Claude to sync with the AI about the program. But I'm sure that there will be more changes. We can see it through the video aspects and the graphic aspects. It didn't change communication, but it will change like every profession. So we are trying to think what is the best way to use it and also how we can be faster than our colleagues in the profession to use it right.
And what are some of the challenges with AI? What makes it tricky to implement an AI strategy, if anything?
First of all, I think that the most challenging is, I have 25 years of experience and my partner also has 25 years of experience. So together we have 50 years of experience with communication consulting. And we had a big gap between us and all other components. But now
Mhm.
with the AI, you can be very young in the profession, but to get all the knowledge and all the books about the area and all the crisis case studies. So I think the first challenge is to understand that AI is shortening the gaps between the ones that has experience and the ones that doesn't have it. It's also in every profession, I think.
Yes.
So I think this is challenge number one. The challenge number two is that there is a lot of fake news. I'm working with a very leading businessman in Israel, and now there is like a fake AI that is taking his image and talking to the public. It looks like the person is talking, and it's a problem that you need to solve. And we are talking to Twitter, to Facebook, to Instagram. Don't show this ad because it's fake, but it's hard and it's like something that it's new. It wasn't in the past.
Mhm. That's scary. That's very scary when this
Yes.
happens.
Yes,
Um,
everything is getting more complex. I see
and
it
people
also
don't.
as an opportunity because we have a lot of experience, so we know how to manage this situation. But there are a new situation.
Yeah. I wonder how the world is going to get over that. One thing we noticed when we created an AI video, it got a lot fewer likes, even though it was early on when there were very few AI videos, and we thought it was a very clever thing. But actually, people didn't resonate with it. Do you find that this being
Yes,
the case, or now there are AI videos that are so well done that
I,
people don't realize it is fake?
I think it's a challenge for the regulators, and I'm seeing that they are doing work in that aspect. That an AI video will
Mhm.
have like something written. This is an AI video. You must do it. So I think that if the regulator will amplify these actions with all the channels, the Google and Facebook and ChatGPT and everything, I think that we will have the way that every person can see every video that he wants, but he will know it's an AI video and not a real video.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, where do you see the growth opportunities for communication businesses like yours going forward?
I think, as I said, that the AI will take us to a place that we can work with more clients in a faster way. I'm one of the founders of a startup that it's called Focus AI that is doing, synthetic groups and communities that we can talk to synthetics figures and to understand what is the best way to approach your messaging and taking your decision after you talk to these communities. So this is like a one way of growth to the profession and also to our business. And this is thing that we are doing. So this is like more fast. And other something that I'm doing is I'm investing in books, business books, because I think that people will look for something very fast, like the AI, but they will look also for something very with a lot of depth, like books. And I see right after you in your image all the books that you are reading, and I believe that there are a lot of people that wants to have the way to go into things. Because of that, I also wrote my book, but now I'm investing also with a place that we will be more and more business books going to into Israel.
That is very interesting. There's this theory that the consumption of media goes in a polarized way, that the very short media is becoming more popular and the very long form media is becoming more popular. And perhaps
Yes.
books are the long form media that you're talking about.
And I
And
think also the
did you say
podcast. The
podcast?
podcast is
Yeah.
very, very succeeding in around the world and also in Israel because people want to have the opportunity to have like 1 hour conversation
Mhm.
and to understand things and not just clips of radio short interviews. So as you said, more fast and more slow, more sharp and more depth.
Yeah, that chimes in with your framework. You have to be in a crisis, you have to be fast, and you have to be slow at the same time. Who do you recommend to buy your book? Who can benefit from the crisis management book?
So I think there are like three main target audience. The first one are managers, CEO, people that take decisions and will have crisis in their professional life. I think that everyone has crisis in his life, in his professional life. It's like a back pain. Everybody has it, had it, or will have it. Live his life without a back pain and also without crisis. So the first one are the managers. The second one are people in my profession, the communication consulting, the lawyers that are in crisis, that they will have these case studies to benefit from. And the first target is our students of communication, students of business, students of law, people that want to have more knowledge about this issue and area.
Is this just about communicating in crisis, or it's also about solving a crisis? Or is this the same thing?
It's all aspects of a crisis. Every crisis has a communication aspect, but the crisis management book and also crisis management is not just about communication. As I said, when I'm coming to a crisis area, a place, organization that is in a crisis, I'm managing the communication of the crisis. And there is a lawyer, and there is a lobby, and there is a accountant, and there is inner manager of the organization. Everybody has his own target audience. So the book is talking about all the crises. My way is through the media.
Yeah, love it. That's great. Okay. So if you're listening to this and you're running a business, or you're in a professional service business, or you're a politician perhaps, or any kind of person who works in a high-stake environment, I highly recommend Itay Ben Horin's book, Crisis Management. It just came out. Is it available on Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, everywhere.
Yeah, so it's on Amazon, and it's the great bookstores everywhere. So if you want to learn more, check this out. Whereas can people reach you if they want to talk to you or someone at your firm? What do you suggest should be the entry point?
Yeah, so my email is open, my LinkedIn is open, so I'm very available. My profession is to be available 24/7.
So check Itay Ben Horin out on LinkedIn. He was easy to be found there.
Yes.
And he's the CEO of Ben Horin and Alexandrovitz, leading strategic media consultancy in Israel. Do you guys work outside of Israel as well, or you focus on the Middle East?
Yes, we're working outside of Israel, but with Israeli brands that have, communication or crisis throughout the world, and also American or European brands that are working in Israel or South Korea and on like every aspect. So our main focus is Israel, but we're working with a lot of clients throughout the world. We have like 50 international clients.
That's fantastic. So check Itay out, read his book. And if you enjoyed this conversation, then stay tuned in, because every week we have another entrepreneur that has a unique framework coming on the show. Itay, thanks for coming and thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you listening today. Stay connected. Sign up for my free weekly newsletter at steveperida.com/newsletter.